must admit, everything you do, everything you say is a beautiful effect on me. You, yes, you mean the world to me. I don't know what you do, but it's really moving me. Back and forth and back, left, right, center. The only face I see in my head is yours. Forever you and I, you remain the apple of my eye. Light of my life, sight for sore eyes. Understand me, without you I got no air supply. I can't breathe without you here with me, baby. Baby, I need you so badly. It's an emergency, just help me, nothing, baby. Oh, I can breathe whenever you're not close to me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe, and it's killing me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe whenever you're not close to me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe, and it's killing me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. Hello, how you doing, B? I'm fine, Roger. Shorty packed the things, man, she gone, and she leaving me. Now what you mean she leaving you? You must have made a man. I admit that I did it wrong. Caught me bad with some other chick. I got it bad. My whole life's a living hell. She got me wrecked. I'm so bad and I'm so sad. You got it bad. Your whole life's a living hell. She got you wrecked. I know you're pain and you're sad. Man, that's bad. I can breathe whenever you're not close to me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe, and it's killing me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe whenever you're not close to me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. I can breathe, and it's killing me. I think about you all the time, 24/7 you're on my mind. Yeah, I can breathe.
By definition, the word globetrotting means the action of traveling widely around the world.
It's not traveling wide, that's your opinion. You are not talking facts.
The Namibian listed how many? The Namibian listed this morning.
Desert Radio is the home of robust debate.
Has this just been rhetoric over the years?
We have heard the same promises. We can bring it down to one thing, that the president is divorced from the reality faced by ordinary Namibians.
Brutal, honest, and cutthroat conversations.
All ministers that are currently benefiting from government vehicles, entertainment allowances, that's waste.
People think that political power and political office and leadership is about an opportunity to eat.
Divergent views and a cross-pollination of ideas.
We discussed it thoroughly and agreed to disagree because we need to move forward.
Desert Radio is bold and believes in telling it like it is.
Don't state things as they are, because the actions and the facts speak for themselves.
It is a place where all views matter. For the best of current affairs, latest news updates, and non-stop infotainment, tune in to Desert Radio, the bold voice.
Desert Radio, the bold voice. In the ever-changing landscape of business, staying informed is key to success. Dive into the fast-paced currents of the economy with Talking Business, your gateway to the business world.
Important contributor to the Namibian economy.
Stay on top of global market trends with Market Watch. Uncover industry insights with Money Matters and meet business leaders in executive profiles.
It provides for about a quarter of
Don't
Namibia's
miss
revenue.
all this and more on Talking Business every Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 12 a.m. on Desert Radio. Take your place in the forefront of the business revolution. Tune in and level up your business game with Talking Business, your gateway to the business world.
Good afternoon. It is indeed Talking Business, and this is your gateway to the business world. My name is Shania Lazarus, and I will be your host. And of course, I am your host every single day. A very good afternoon to you. This is 95.3 FM if you're listening to us in Windhoek. And of course, we know we have international listeners, and that will be desertradio.fm. So like I say, this is Talking Business. This is where we bring you what is trending in the business sector, both locally and continentally and regionally. This is also where we get to talk and interview industry experts on the focusing on the key economic sectors, and also just understanding what is actually going on in the country in terms of the economy, in terms of the business environment. So this segment of our show is called Money Matters, and this is basically where we have the interviews. And like I always say, then we move to the favorite part of my show, which is always the concluding part of the show, which is the business tip of the day or the financial tip of the day. This is where we get to learn about things that ordinarily we wouldn't know. I always give an example of a lot of times we hear the Bank of Namibia has increased or decreased the repo rate. So this is the part of the show where we actually get to explain what some of these terminologies mean. So like I say, this is Talking Business, and when we come back, we will be giving you a rundown of some of our local and regional news. To start off with our local business news, Namibia, one of the top diamond miners in Southern Africa, produced 2,327 carats of rough diamonds last year. This is a recording of 9% increase from a 2.1 million carats produced in the previous year. According to latest figures released by De Beers during the period under review, Namdeb's land-based production increased by 14% to 468,000 carats from 412 carats the previous year, while in the fourth quarter it recorded a 13% decline in production to 151,000 carats. Meanwhile, Debmarine Namibia's offshore production for 2023 increased by 8% to 1.8 million carats from 1.7 million carats in 2022. In the fourth quarter, Debmarine produced 439,000 carats. In Namibia, De Beers operates as a joint venture partner with the government through Namdeb Holdings, where each entity holds a 50% stake. Namdeb manages the land-based diamond mines, while Debmarine operates the offshore licenses. According to the mineandenergy.com, Namibia's total production in the fourth quarter declined by 4% to 490,000 due to marginally lower grades at the land operations. To further continue with our local business news, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, MEFT, is investigating possible overpricing of plastic bags by retailers following concerns that some shops are charging well above the government-mandated price. The Government Gazette on Environmental and Plastic Levy, or tax, sets the price at 50 cents. The Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Pamba Shifeta, concurred with the primary investigations carried out by the brief that has established that retail stores and other businesses now charge between $1 to $5 Namibian for a plastic carry bag. This is the Minister of Environment, Shifeta, said that this is something that has also been uncovered, and they have launched an investigation, and it is very concerning. They are told that they are only allowed to charge above what is legally required, and they have been getting the fees of that. In conclusion of our local news, Total Energies has allocated an estimated $5.7 billion for exploration and appraisal work in Namibia in 2024. So clearly, Namibia is said to be top of the spending priorities for exploration and appraisals, and they say that they allocated around 30% of their exploration and appraisal budget to Namibia again in 2024 because they need to continue assessing the best approach for development. The Total Energies Chief Executive Officer, Petru Mapuyeni said this during the company's 2023-2024 annual results. He said that the oil major, which announced a discovery at its Mangeti 1X well, potentially boosting the existing recoverable resource base on Block 2, has also been exploring potential wells south, also called the Conquer Boom. He said that regarding Maneti, they have found hydrocarbons again, and they have also found hydrocarbon level of Venus extending to the north. And as mentioned by some of the peers, they will also share the data with their neighboring peer. Through the various appraisals well tests, it is clear that it is not a homogeneous field, and they have another potential exploration well south of the Venus called the Concobar, and they will also continue appraising what has been discovered. That brings us to the end of our local business news. When we come back, we will be taking a look at some of our continental and regional news.
Hi, I'm Angelique Bock, Research Assistant at Simony Storm Securities. Be sure to tune in on Desert Radio 95.3 FM every Monday and Wednesday between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. for the best of business and financial news, in-depth interviews, and stock market analysis on Talking Business.
Stay informed with rundowns on international markets, finance, and trade. This is World Business Report, your ticket to the latest updates on the global economic stage.
Now, just to have a look at some of our continental and regional news, Zimbabwe's Central Bank and Finance Ministry are working on measures to stabilize the local currency, and the central governor said the Zimbabwean dollar has fallen about 40% since the start of the year, hit by increased foreign currency demand from civil servants being paid December bonuses and weaker commodity prices denting inflows. That has also caused inflation to accelerate in an economy still scared by memories of hyperinflation under long-time reader Robert Mugabe. Earlier this week, President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that authorities were looking to introduce a structured currency without explaining how that would work. To further continue with our regional and continental news, today we will be listening to an insight by CNBC Africa as a report on investing in Africa's mining sector. Africa's mining sector is tipped to be a key catalyst for economic growth if well harnessed. Business leaders in the mining industry met in South Africa's Cape Town last week for this year's Mining Indaba, which seeks to elevate mining through deal sourcing and corporate matchmaking for the African mining sector. We will be listening to an interview between Sema Shonedao, the Chief Investment Officer of AFCC, as he joins CNBC Africa for more.
So you have to look at the full supply chain. You have to look at the project. You have to look at the resource, the reserves that are in the project, in the mining project. You have to look at the regulatory framework, in which country it operates. Is the country conducive to investments or not? Evacuation of the product. So one of the things that is always a problem is that a lot of these mines are in areas where there's no road network, there's no rail network, there's no supply of power. So the infrastructure that supports the mining sector has to be there, and this is an area that we also invest in. And then finally, the industrial part. How do we capture value, and how do we add 2, 3, 4 steps, refining, processing, etc., so that we create jobs, we capture the value within Africa, and we increase the margin. If I give you an example, for example, an electric vehicle goes through a number 6 to 7 steps from mining all the way to producing the battery that goes into the electric vehicle. Mining alone is less than 5% of the value of the electric vehicle. But if you capture steps 2 and 3, which is the refining and the precursor manufacturing, you capture 40% of the value of the electric vehicle. You reduce the dependency on China that produces 80% of the battery industry, and you keep the value at home. And this is one of the mandates that AFC is really focused on.
And that was an interview between CNBC Africa and Sema Senauda, the Chief Investment Officer of AFC, during the Mining Indaba that was held in South Africa last week. Now, to conclude our regional and continental news, South Africa's poultry industry has suffered crippling losses from the power crisis and bird flu. However, the Competition Commission believes it's uncompetitive and wants to set things right. South Africa's poultry industry has barely recovered from the ravages because of the bird flu outbreak, rolling blackouts, collapsing infrastructure, access to clean water, and depressed consumer demand. Three of the country's major poultry producers, which is Astral Foods, Quantum, and RCL, reported losses for the year caused by the outbreaks of the bird flu and the costs associated with culling plus rolling blackouts. Now the Competition Commission has stepped in to deal with what could be the death blow to the foundering sector by announcing that it will embark on a market inquiry targeting the poultry industry value chain. This comes weeks after temporary rebates on the import duties of chicken were introduced and the worst time for the poultry sector. Last year, Astral Foods posted its first losses in 23 years due to the impact of power crisis and the bird flu. It also spent more than 2.1 billion in the 2023 financial year on water, culling, and elevating the impact of the rolling blackouts. And that brings us to the end of both our local, continental, and regional news. And like I said, we always get to the exciting parts of the show, which obviously will be our Money Matters. In today's Money Matter, or in today's interview, we will be talking to Danny Meyer. He is the director of SME Compete. And if you were here last week, Wednesday, we had Mr. David, who is the managing director of Dinapama, and he was basically talking to us about how SMEs can thrive and how SMEs can survive, specifically in Namibia's economic landscape, and what are the things that you should look out for as an SME founder, as an individual, of course, and also as a business. So one of the things that he had spoken about in our interview last week was financial discipline to know that this money is particularly for the business and this money is money that you can use for personal use, because you should not be putting your hands in your business account if it's not for business matters. So today we will be talking to Danny Meyer, and we'll be talking to Danny Meyer on the importance of financial record keeping for small and medium enterprises, which has been quite a challenge with a lot of SMEs, which is a challenge that we have heard even from banks when they have to give out loans or when they have to consider giving out a loan, because nobody really wants to give out a loan to somebody that is financially irresponsible or has not proven a track record of financial discipline and money management. So that will be today's conversation. Please do not move and please do stay tuned as we will have Danny Meyer on air.
By definition, the word globetrotting means the action of traveling widely around the world.
It's not traveling wide, that's your opinion. You are not talking facts.
The Namibian listed how many? The Namibian listed this morning.
Desert Radio is the home of robust debate.
Has this just been rhetoric over the years?
We have heard the same promises. We can bring it down to one thing, that the president is divorced from the reality faced by ordinary Namibians.
Brutal, honest, and cutthroat conversations.
All ministers that are currently benefiting from government vehicles, entertainment allowances, that's waste.
People think that political power and political office and leadership is about an opportunity to eat.
Divergent views and a cross-pollination of ideas.
We discussed it thoroughly and agreed to disagree because we need to move forward.
Desert Radio is bold and believes in telling it like it is.
Don't state things as they are, because the actions and the facts speak for themselves.
It is a place where all views matters. For the best of current affairs, latest news updates, and non-stop infotainment, tune in to Desert Radio, the bold voice.
Desert Radio, the bold voice. Welcome to Money Matters, your reliable source for in-depth insights on key sectors of the economy. We delve into the strategies, challenges, and opportunities with industry experts.
Get all you need to know from the people in the know.
This is Money Matters on Talking Business.
This is indeed Money Matters on Talking Business, and like I said, I am your host, Shania Lazarus. I had mentioned before that today we will be having Danny Meyer. He is the director of SME Compete, and we will definitely be talking about the importance of financial record keeping and just record keeping for SMEs, for small and medium enterprises. Danny, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Shania. Good afternoon to your listeners too.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So, just to give you a bit of a brief, so last week, Wednesday, we actually had Mr. David. He is the managing director of Dinapama, and we were having a discussion around the economy and just the SMEs in Namibia, particularly how they are managing to sort of thrive, those that are thriving, and what is potentially causing losses to those that are not making it. So today, obviously, we will be talking about the importance of also financial record keeping and also just SMEs, how they can survive this kind of economy. So let's just get right into it. I don't know if we're going to do a question and answer, or because you are an expert in this area, we just want to hear from you. Number one, what is the importance of financial record keeping, especially for small and medium enterprises?
Okay, first I must say, Shania, that we're very proud of David Namalenga.
Yeah.
He really has, from the days when he was a trade unionist, and then decided to venture into business. He's done extremely well on his entrepreneurial journey, and it would be worthwhile for Namibians, young and old, to emulate what he's managed to do. But to get into the topic of discussion, it is extremely important, and David Namalenga and other entrepreneurs will confirm that. Yeah. From day one, you have to keep records. You have to start making sure that every expense, any income is meticulously recorded. So it already even starts when you have the idea. The seed stage, where you're doing your research, you're going to have to go perhaps in public transport somewhere to start talking to potential customers. So you're incurring expenses already at that early stage, the seed stage, whilst you're still developing your business idea and formulating a plan before you even get started. You should keep every expense, whether it's public transport, keep a record of that. If you need to have photocopies made, if you have to have copies made of your ID, any documents that you're going to require to get started, to apply for permits, licenses, and so on. All the paperwork must be kept meticulously, and of course all your expenses recorded down. Then you start getting into the habit. You cultivate that good habit. And then when your business gets going, you will continue doing that, because you cannot at any time measure your ups and downs, if you're successful or not, if you don't keep records, if you are not recording what money is flowing out of the business and the money flowing in. And then as you move along that entrepreneurial journey, there are others who will require access to that information to help you scale or grow your enterprise. And others would be like banks, funding institutions, potential partners, potential investors. So you see, Shania, it starts already right there from that very first step.
Okay, so that's like Danny Mayer said, it doesn't start when you have started, when the business is registered, or when you finally start selling your first product. It starts even before you sell your first product, to say, listen, this is the expenses that I've incurred just to get this business off the ground. These are actually the expenses that I've incurred. And now, Danny, one of the issues that I always hear, especially when you attend a lot of SME functions or conferences, a lot of founders tend to say they don't have any skills or they don't have any knowledge in accounting. And when people say, no, we just want you to keep a record of like your expenses and your incomes, it always sounds like a very complex concept when it actually is not. So what then can be done to basically assist those that say, I don't have any financial background, I don't have, or how simple is it to actually just keep financial records? Because sometimes I feel like people want to complicate it when it actually is not.
That's why financial literacy is so important. And I know that they already do at school start cultivating that discipline among students, teachers will already introduce individuals to the importance of budgeting. If you have $10 or if you have $100 you've received as a gift, how you should spend that. You shouldn't just make that burn a hole in your pocket or your purse and go and spend. So the same principle applies in business, that there should be money discipline. And that's why I urge schools that haven't already done so to make sure they introduce financial literacy in the curricula as early as possible, already in primary school, and of course going on to secondary and the tertiary institution as well. And the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises has a division within the ministry, the Financial Literacy Institute, known by the acronym FLI. And Truma and her colleagues there do a wonderful job, and schools can invite them to come and talk to them. So once there is financial literacy, there's a grasp of the importance of looking after your money, for your money to work for you in the life ahead. If it starts there, it becomes easy. There are a host of programs that we and others run, short programs to develop skills that guide on record keeping, bookkeeping, and so on. But really, every Namibian should exercise financial discipline, and we constantly see the complaints that come in from Bank of Namibia, from others in the financial services sector, that there are Namibians who are just living above their means. They get sucked in by promises of buy 3 and pay for 2 and open an account and 6 months free credit and so on. And soon they get onto a treadmill, and from there they often go into a debt trap. So that same principle applies in business as it implies in life, is that think very carefully before you make a spending choice. And there are others to help. You just have to go knocking on doors. As I say, it already can start at primary school level.
Thank you very much, Danny. One of the issues that have actually been identified, especially when it comes to SME funding, the banking sector most especially, is that what happens after these people have been funded, because of I want to believe lack of financial discipline or money management skills, a lot of times they end up squandering the money that was actually intended for business. Somebody receives 10 million for business investment, and then they end up spending 8 million on personal stuff, and then they have 2 million for the business. So at the end of the day, they're not really able to run the business successfully because majority of the money has now gone into some personal expenses. Now, as obviously the director also of SME Compete, you work closely, and I know you have a lot of knowledge in that regard when it comes to SMEs. What are some of the challenges that technically, both from the investor side but also from the SME side, that people see once funding has been made available, especially to SMEs?
Okay, so Shania, we operate in a banking system that is security-based, collateral-based. And that means that from day one, when you get a loan, you start paying interest. Often people will be under the false notion that when you get a loan from a financial institution and you ask for a payment holiday, delayed payments for servicing that loan, that is interest free. So that has to be borne in mind, is that from the day you get a loan, from the day that money is dispersed, day one, you start paying interest. So you might get a repayment holiday, but you don't get an interest-free holiday. So it is very important for entrepreneurs. We strongly recommend, first, demonstrate to yourself that you can actually work as an entrepreneur, that you can actually have those required discipline, traits, characteristics, and so on. So we don't recommend people start business with borrowed money. There are other options, and we don't have time in this program, maybe in a future program, to talk about other sources of funding. So it is taking a risk, and of course, business is risk-taking, so as long as you manage it, but it is difficult if you're starting the business with borrowed money. And of course, this is where people do make a mistake. They get the funds, they put in a business plan, they ask for funding for certain components, for certain elements, equipment, stock, and so on. And the bank releases the funds, but the bank is not your nursemaid. The bank will not watch how you spend it. And if you go and spend it, say you were going to ask to buy equipment to start leather goods manufacturing or to start making clothing, and you use the money to buy a car, well, the bank, of course, has no control over that. Now you've already taken money and used it for the wrong purpose, and that already puts you on a pathway which is going to land you in trouble.
All right. So, but Denny, I know that you also closely very much work with SMEs. What some of the advice? I know we talk about money management, but a lot of people actually don't know what money management is. But what are some of the challenges that you as your organization or your institution has personally experienced with SMEs, especially when it comes to just funding in general? I think I'm pressing funding specifically because a lot of SMEs always complain about that area when it comes to
Okay, so we work across all 14 regions, and we work with enterprises who are in the informal sector. They don't have to be formal. They can be in the informal sector too. And we will help them graduate to the formal sector. Namibia needs entrepreneurs. We need individuals who will be the future Opa Frans Ndongos or the other iconic entrepreneurs we have in the country. And so money should not be the obstacle. There are other ways you can fund your startup. And the easiest way is normally to follow grant programs. There are startup grant programs. Then there's, of course, the 3 F's. Family, friends, and fools. Fools happen to be those who are going to back you without knowing if you're actually going to make it. So those will be organizations that have funding, scaling, startup funding, and so forth. And there are many in Namibia. These are usually NGOs, foundations, and those who want to help see Namibia expand its economy by bringing more entrepreneurs into the arena. So money should not be the problem. The biggest problem is actually the lack of knowledge, the lack of skills, and sometimes perhaps a little bit of tardiness when it comes to finding places where you can get that knowledge. So ask question. Start off by talking to other entrepreneurs in your community. They'll tell you. Ask them, how did you start? Entrepreneurs are never afraid to share knowledge and get going from there. So really money, yes, funding, as you say, access to finance is the topic of today's discussion, but that should not be considered the major obstacle. The major obstacle we see is usually the lack of skills and knowledge and the inability and sometimes perhaps the unwillingness of individuals to go and seek that. They think, if I have a little bit of money, I'm going to make my hairdressing salon work. If I have got a bit of money, I can quickly start my carpentry business. I've now graduated from the vocational training center or my welding business. That is not going to happen. You need to go there and ask people to help you hold your hand and walk you first steps on your entrepreneurial journey. Much as we as human beings, we don't just one day get up from crawling and walk. We hold on to things, we have people helping us. So life principles apply in business too.
All right. So that is Danny Meyer. He is the director of SME Compete, and he just said that life principles apply in business too. I know that Namibians also have, or a lot of people actually, especially young people, we have this notion that not everybody is called to be a business person. And it might be true, it might have some truth in it, but like Danny Meyer said, we need entrepreneurs, we need people to venture into entrepreneur, we need people to actually venture, because even when you study economics, you sort of learn that economies don't really grow because of the government like people think, or by employment, or everybody having a job. That's not really how the economy grows. Economy grows because of this businesses, having small businesses that employ one or two people, having a small salon that employs one person, a car wash that employs two people. That's actually how economies grow, through businesses. And so everybody should strive to venture into business in one way or another. So Danny, just in our closing remarks, is there anything that we probably left out that we should have discussed in this session? This session is actually very short. We'll not be able to cover everything that we had to cover, but is there anything that you would like to say in your concluding or departing remarks?
Thank you, Shania. I just want to challenge Namibians out there that you are going to be growing this economy. We need to see more job creators of wealth, and fewer job seekers. And you can do it. Give it a try. Even start small as a side hustle, and show yourself and those who will support you, they will be watching you, that you can do it, that you can be the future iconic entrepreneur of this country. Thank you, Shania.
Thank you very much, Danny. Do have a wonderful day ahead.
And you too. Cheers. Bye.
And of course, that was the voice of Danny Meyer. He is the director of SME Compete, and he was just talking about, importance of financial record keeping, especially for SMEs. It is quite a concern that a lot of small and medium enterprises do not keep financial records, and when they do start keeping financial records, it's usually such a disorganized kind of set that really, even if I was an investor or a bank, I would not be comfortable handing over a large amount of money to this particular person, because the way you handle finances, especially in business, is actually a reflection and representation of who you are as a person. It will teach you whether you are disciplined or you are not disciplined. So that was, of course, Danny Meyer, and he just said, everybody should be an entrepreneur, because the economy is not going to grow because of jobs. Not everybody, people shouldn't be striving to be job seekers, and it's something that resounds with us a lot. I know that our former president, the late Hage Geingob, may his soul rest in peace, always said it, and it always caused so much controversy, that be job creators, and it's important. And he knew what he was saying, because the economy cannot grow if people are not creating jobs. Now, just before we finish Money Matters, while we are still on the importance of financial record keeping, contrary to what a lot of people actually believe, record keeping is not very difficult. Accounting in itself, in its entirety, can be a little bit complicated, but then when it comes to record of financial keeping, all you need to record as a small or medium enterprise is your expenses and your income. So you say, I have $100, I bought goods worth $50, this is the money that went out, this is the money that came in. You understand? And it's very simple, because you just get to basically see that this is the money that I received, this is the money that went out, expenses, incomes, and then from there you keep those records. You bought a new microwave, you record, I bought a new microwave, this is how much the microwave cost me. You sold your old air fryer, you record that I sold my air fryer for this amount of money. It just gives you a sense. It doesn't matter how little the money is, the importance is you are able to keep records, so that you know when you are growing. If sales used to be 10 hot dogs, now you are saying, okay, now I'm making 12 hot dogs now weekly, it's no longer 10 hot dogs. There is growth, but without any financial record keeping, there isn't actually a way to measure whether you're growing or not. And also, there are actually very cheap accountant consultants that are out there, people that do this in their own personal and individual capacity. And if you're an SME and you're really just struggling to keep your own financial records, there are people out there that do it at a very small price, as little as, I know somebody that charges as little as $300 just to help you sort out to help you keep your records. just to help you maintain a system that actually works. And that is the simplicity of accounting. I know people always say it's very difficult, but maybe because I'm in the field, I always say it's such an easy thing to understand. It's income, it's expenses, and then you know what is going out, you know what is coming in. And it's very important that all SMEs should be keeping financial records. And that rounds up our Money Matters. So when we come back, we will definitely be going into our financial tip of the day. And today we will be looking at no, you need to come back for us to know what we're going to be looking at today.
In the ever-changing landscape of business, staying informed is key to success. Dive into the fast-paced currents of the economy with Talking Business, your gateway to the business world.
Important contributor to the Namibian economy.
Stay on top of global market trends with Market Watch, uncover industry insights with Money Matters, and meet business leaders in executive profiles.
It provides for about a quarter of
Don't
Namibia's
miss
revenue.
all this and more on Talking Business every Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 12 a.m. on Desert Radio. Take your place in the forefront of the business revolution. Tune in and level up your business game with Talking Business, your gateway to the business world.
By definition, the word globetrotting means the action of traveling widely around the world.
It's not traveling wide, that's your opinion. You are not talking facts.
The Namibian listed how many? The Namibian listed this morning.
Desert Radio is the home of robust debate.
Has this just been rhetoric over the years?
We have heard the same promises. We can bring it down to one thing, that the president is divorced from the reality faced by ordinary Namibians.
Brutal, honest, and cutthroat conversations.
All ministers that are currently benefiting from government vehicles, entertainment allowances, that's waste.
People think that political power and political office and leadership is about an opportunity to eat.
Divergent views and a cross-pollination of ideas.
We discussed it thoroughly and agreed to disagree because we need to move forward.
Desert Radio is bold and believes in telling it like it is.
Don't state things as they are, because the actions and the facts speak for themselves.
It is a place where all views matters. For the best of current affairs, latest news updates, and non-stop infotainment, tune in to Desert Radio, the bold voice.
Desert Radio, the bold voice.
This is indeed Desert Radio, the bold voice, and I am your host, Shania Lazarus, and this is Talking Business. So, my favorite... I can't have a favorite bank, but my favorite bank just sent in an announcement. We will be having a monetary policy announcement on Wednesday, the 14th of February. It was actually scheduled for the 18th, but they have changed it to the 14th of February. So on the 14th of February, we will be finding out if interest rates are going to be going high or if they are going to be going low. But considering what South Africa did, they decided to keep to basically keep their repo rate unchanged, which was last month. This is the time when the economists now can come in with their predictions and tell us what will the Bank of Namibia do at this monetary policy announcement. What should we expect? Now, to move into our financial tip or our business tip of the day, which is actually not a tip, but today we are going to be discussing overdraft. So, if you have a silver or a gold card or a black card, the bank should probably approach you to say, listen, you actually qualify for an overdraft. Do you want to have one? So what is an overdraft? So an overdraft technically just occurs when there isn't enough money in your account to cover a transaction or withdrawal, and but the bank still allows the transaction anyway. So this usually it's a form of a credit extension from the financial institution or from your bank. So when your account reaches a zero, they usually give you this financial, I would say it's a helping hand. So the overdraft allows you as an account holder to continue withdrawing money even though the account has no funds in it. It has insufficient funds to cover the amount of the withdrawal. Now, just aside, on the side, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, there is no way with your position you can't have money in your bank account. And the person said, well, because of my position, it actually means that I have more expenses in life and I have an overdraft of about 40 something thousand in my account. I was actually very shocked to say, let me understand this. Your overdraft reached 40 something thousand. This is quite a significant amount. So in the back of my mind, being the finance and accounting person that I am, I was already calculating how much this person's salary was and how much monthly goes into their bank account. Because for you to have an overdraft that high means that you are getting paid pretty well. So an overdraft basically means you don't have money, so the bank is paying for that. And in turn, you are going to pay back the bank, obviously, with interest charged on it. So the bank will encourage those that qualify for an overdraft to basically take out one, because at the end of the day, they are going to get a certain fee from you because you are using somebody else's money now to make purchases. Some, but not all banks will pay overdrafts automatically as obviously courtesy to the customer while charging fees. And this provides the customer with a further tool to prevent embarrassing shortfalls. Maybe you just went away and you went to the store and now you are swiping, you're in Foschini and you are swiping, and then all of a sudden your card is declining. So it sort of gives you that protection. So it links also to your account saving and it links to other accounts. So at the end of the month, this is what happens, right? A lot of times when people try to explain as to why they don't have money at the end of the month, this is what happens. You get paid 10,000 Namibian dollars, and by reason of being paid 10,000 Namibian dollars, you qualified for an overdraft of, let me say, 3,000, or let me say 5,000. Let me exaggerate it and say you qualify for an overdraft of 5,000. Your rent is 5,000, considering how expensive it is to live in Windhoek, and so you at the end of the month you have an overdraft of 5,000. So during the course of the month you are basically spending, and then your 10k is done, and then you decided, okay, I have an overdraft of 5,000, let me spend. So you spend another 5k, which is an overdraft. So now your account is in a minus 5,000. So by the time you receive your salary, you received 10,000, but only 5,000 is going to be left. Why? Because the bank took their 5,000 that they technically loaned you when you didn't have enough money. And this is a continuous cycle that never seems to end. So when you get into credit and when you get into overdraft, it's a continuous cycle that never ceases to end, because you are forever living above your actual means, because you always have extra money, and because you always have extra money, you're always living above your means. And that's one downfall of an overdraft. It makes you believe you have money that you actually do not have, because you don't have the money. So at the end of the day, your salary is never going to be enough to cover your bills. You're always going to need to take an overdraft. You're always going to have to take a loan from somewhere for you to be able to live comfortably and maintain the lifestyle that you started with the money that technically is not yours and does not belong to you. But that is also an overdraft. But also an overdraft comes in handy, honestly, when there is an emergency or an expense that you didn't anticipate that really just came up, and now there is this expense. So it gives you that the benefit of, okay, I have extra money that I can quickly get and use for this particular expense. And that was all we had for you today on Talking Business. Like I said, I am your host, Shania Lazarus, and we meet here every single Wednesday and Monday from 12 to 1 o'clock. And this is how we would be talking about business and everything that has to do with economics and everything that has to do with finances. And like I said, I am your host, Shania Lazarus, and do have a wonderful rest of the day.